What is probability? Probability is the statistic of how likely an event is to happen. For example, how likely it is to flip a coin and land on heads is an example of probability. We can use probability to calculate how likely something happens if we aren't sure. Coin probability. When flipping a coin, there are two possible outcomes, heads or tails. One may claim that for an even coin, the probability of landing on heads is 0.5. How do we find that out? An easy trial that is designed for finding the probability of this is flipping a coin multiple times. For example, you can flip it 10 times, 100 times, or even 1,000 times, etc. People calculate the probability of landing on heads by using the number of outcomes with heads up divided by the total number of flips, which is put into the equation number of heads over total number of flips. For example, if a coin is flipped 100 times and there are 51 heads, then the probability is 51 over 100, aka 0.51. The more flips that are made, the more the actual probability is closer to the theoretical probability, which is 0.5. Here is an example that we can look at. A fair coin is tossed 3 times. What is the possibility of at least landing on heads twice consecutively? First, we can calculate how many possible outcomes there are, which we can calculate by doing 2 to the power of 3, which is 8. So since we have 8 outcomes, next we can calculate how many outcomes there are where we land on heads twice. There are 3 ways, which is tails, heads, 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 tails, and heads, 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 which means our answer is C, 3 over 8. Dice probability. When rolling a normal dice, there are usually 6 possible outcomes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Theoretically, when a dice is rolled 6 times, the possibility of landing on a certain number, for example 1, is 1 over 6. To test this hypothesis, we can first roll the dice multiple times. The more the number of total rolls, the closer we get to the theoretical probability. In math contest, we constantly see questions related to rolling dice. So, for example, to find out the probability of rolling a 1 on the dice is a simple trial of just rolling it multiple times. For example, 6 times, 12 times, and so on. Our equation would be number of the certain side that we want to find the probability of over the number of total sides. For example, if a dice is rolled 12 times and it rolls 1 twice, it's 2 over 12, or our theoretical probability, 1 over 6. Here is an AMC 8 dice problem that we can look at. The faces of each of 2 fair dice are numbered 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. When the 2 dice are tossed, what is the probability that their sum will be an even number? A, 4 over 9, B, 1 over 2, C, 5 over 9, D, 3 over 5, and E, 2 over 3. For our solution, we have 2 dice with 2 evens and 2 odds on each dice. For the sum to be even, the 2 rolls must be 2 odds or 2 evens. For case 1, ways to roll 2 odds. The total number of ways to obtain 2 odds on 2 rolls is 4 times 4, which is 16, as there are 4 possible odds on the first roll and 4 possible odds on the second roll. Ways to roll 2 evens In case 2, similarly, we have 2 times 2 equals 4 ways to obtain 2 evens. Our probability is 5/9, which is C.